Think about the last time you posted a photo of yourself. Maybe it was a selfie, maybe it was a vacation, maybe it was you at a dinner with your friends. Now ask yourself honestly, when you picked that photo, when you cropped it, and when you wrote that caption, what were you actually doing? The answer? You were pitching. You were low-key pitching a version of yourself you hoped the market would buy. And honestly, underneath that perfect lighting, the smile, and the caption you spent 20 minutes crafting, you were pulling the same move your great-great-grandfather did, swinging a dead animal over his shoulder after a hunt, just looking for a mate. Like, yeah, the hunt, the animal, the shoulder, all that stuff is totally different now. But the pitch itself, still exactly the same. For tonight's episode, how survival became a sales call, and what's that done to all of us. Let's go back to what survival used to mean. For most of human history, the math was simple. You either had food or you went to bed hungry. You either had a tribe or you got eaten. You either fought back or you didn't get to find what tomorrow looked like. Kill or be killed wasn't a metaphor. It was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday.
And in that world, your worth was easy to calculate. Could you hunt? Could you build? Could you fight? Could you carry a child to term and keep her alive past the first winter? The answers were yes or no. The grading was brutal, but the rules were honest. There was no middleman. But then we built civilization, and everything got weirder. Suddenly, you didn't have to kill the deer yourself. You could just trade something else for the meat. Suddenly, you didn't have to defend your own house. You could just pay someone to do that for you. Suddenly, the question of whether you'd survive the winter wasn't about your strength or your speed. It was about whether you had the right currency to hand to the right stranger at the right counter. That was a great trade, by the way. We swapped one form of brutal for another. And the new brutal didn't care if you were strong. It cared if you were sellable. The seller-consumer system isn't an ideology. It's not even politics. It's just the operating system that runs underneath everything that you do. You wake up, you sell your time to your boss, you take that money and consume groceries, rent,
Give me rent.
healthcare, and at the end of the month, if anything is left over, you consume something fun. Then you sleep, then you do it again for the next 45 years. But somewhere along the way, the system did something genius. It noticed that you'd accept this, but only if it could convince you that you were coming out on top. That's a trick. Kill or be killed had no winners, just survivors. Sell or be sold has only winners. Or so the system tells you anyway. In the season 1 finale of Mad Men, Don Draper is pitching Kodak. The product is called The Wheel, a circular slide carousel for showing family photos. The Kodak guys want Don to call it modern, futuristic. They want him to sell the gadget. Don clicks a projector, photos of his own family come up. His wife, his kids, his life. And then he says, the most important word in advertising isn't new, it's nostalgia.
Nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound.
And then he renames the product.
It's not called the wheel. It's called the carousel.
Because wheel is a tool. A carousel is a memory. A memory takes you back.
To a place where we know we are loved.
By the end of the pitch, the Kodak guys are nearly in tears. They buy it and write the check. Don Draper then goes home, where his actual family is falling apart. Don didn't sell them a slide projector. He weaponized the deepest, most private love a human being can have for their own family and turned it into a piece of plastic that costs $89.99. He took something sacred and made it an SKU. And he doesn't even hate them for buying it. He's just doing his job. He's the best in the world at his job. The job is find the part of the human soul that aches the most and put a price tag on it. That's a system. That's the actual deal. And the only reason it works is that we, the consumers, agreed not to notice we were the product. Now look at where we are in 2026. Two of the biggest cultural movements right now among young people are doing the exact same thing Don Draper did, except without the boardroom. They're doing it to themselves. On one side, you have the manosphere. The red pill, the whole ecosystem of guys with podcasts and ring lights selling the other guys the path to becoming the alpha. The product is masculinity. The funnel is identical to any other course business. Free clips on TikTok, a longer YouTube video, a paid course, a private Discord, a coaching upsell, and the message, peel back, is always the same. You are losing the seller's race. Pay me, and I'll teach you how to win. On the other side, you have the OnlyFans economy. Young women, many of them in their early 20s, some of them students, some of them moms, selling subscription access to themselves. The funnel is the same as the manospheres, just in reverse. Free preview on Instagram, paid subscription on the platform, custom content upsell, agency or the platform takes a cut. The product is intimacy. Now, you can have whatever opinion you want about either of those things, but what I want you to notice is that they are exactly the same problem. And they're dealing with it the exact same way. Both are reactions to a system that told an entire generation that the only way to come out on top is to sell something, and then made sure your wages couldn't cover rent. So you sold the only thing left. You sold your masculinity. You sold your femininity. You sold your attention, your time, your face, your body, your trauma. You sold whatever the algorithm rewarded you for selling. And the algorithm rewarded extremes, so you optimized for the extreme version of yourself. And over time, the extreme version became the only version. It's not that any of these people are stupid. The 22-year-old guy buying a $400 course on masculine frame isn't an idiot. The 23-year-old woman with 3,000 subscribers on OnlyFans isn't a victim. They both look at the world they were handed, a world where their parents' generation could buy a house on one income, where college didn't bury you in debt. They became the product because the system told them that being a product was the only path left. Don Draper would be proud. He spent his whole career trying to convince people to sell themselves to a highest bidder. He just didn't realize the consumer would eventually become so good at the pitch that they wouldn't need him anymore. Don Draper is miserable. The man at the top of the seller pyramid, the best in the room, he is falling apart. He drinks, he cheats, he disappears. He can't be honest with anyone because his entire job is dishonesty. He can't trust the love anyone gives him because he knows the trick. He invented the trick. And the show keeps asking the same question over and over. What happens to a person whose entire identity is the pitch? When the smile is the product, when the family is the product, when you are the product. The answer the show gives you eventually is nothing. Nothing happens. There is nothing inside the pitch except the next pitch. And I want you to think about the last person you scrolled past on TikTok or Instagram. The influencer, the lifestyle account, the guy with the abs, the girl with the morning routine, the mentor, the motivational speaker, the thirst trap with a Bible verse in the caption. Those are people, real, breathing, lonely people who got told the same thing you got told, that the only way to come out on top is to sell something. So they sold the only thing they had left. And now they wake up every morning and have to keep selling it. They can't stop. They can't take a break. They can't post a bad photo. They can't have an opinion that costs them subscribers. They are running all day, every day on the seller's treadmill, and the treadmill never stops. Because the moment they get off, somebody else is already on it, selling harder. Don Draper had Madison Avenue and a martini. They have a phone and a ring light. But the wound is the same. The seller's race has no finish line. Coming out on top isn't a destination, it's a treadmill that gets faster the better you do. When was the last time you did something purely for the joy of it? Something with no audience, no monetization plan, and no measurable outcome. If you had to think hard to answer that, the system has you. Because that's the trick. The seller-consumer collapse isn't about what you do for work. It's about what's left over after work. It used to be the part of you that wasn't on the clock, was just you. You'd cook a bad meal. You'd play guitar badly. You'd hang out with friends, and the hangout wasn't content. It was just hang out. Now, the unmonetized part of your life feels like inefficiency, like waste, like a thing you should fix. And the reason it feels like that isn't because you're broken. It's because the system has been quietly teaching you for your entire life that anything that doesn't generate value is failure, that rest is laziness, that privacy is missed marketing, that a hobby that doesn't make money is on some level embarrassing. Don Draper sold us the carousel. He sold us nostalgia would sell back our own memories. The new pitch is worse. The new pitch is your life is the product, and you have to sell it back to yourself every day, forever, or you're losing. And there's no carousel coming. There's no one in the boardroom about to be moved to tears. It's just you pitching to yourself in an empty room. That's Evel's Midnight Thesis. Take responsibly. Or better yet, take responsibility.